Hello and welcome to your special edition Barbie build class. My name is Barbie. I'll be your instructor and your demo today. Today for class, we're going to be working biceps and chest. So you need a set of moderate weights, maybe heavy weights for the chest presses. We're also going to be working quads and glutes. So I recommend, again, a set of moderate and heavies as well as a ball because we're going to be doing some core work. So we're going to start standing. Meet me on your mat. Bring your feet hip width distance apart, soften your knees a little bit, take a big inhale, reach your arms up, and exhale, lower your arms down. That again, take a big inhale, reach your arms up, exhale, lower your arms down. One more time, inhale, reach your arms up, take a hold of your right wrist with your left hand, take a big side stretch up and over, and then go the other way. All right, and then if you have a stable surface close by, hold onto it or do some heel raises because Barbie, if you haven't noticed, is ditching the heels for the Birkenstocks. Just too much on the feet and the calves. So we're going to do a lot of footwork today. Make sure your feet are getting a little TLC. And then if you have a block close by or a wall like so, we're going to do a little calf stretch. So I'm going to grab my block. It's a little more convenient than the wall. Put the ball of your foot on the block and your heel down to the ground and pull yourself in. You're going to soften your knee a little bit, lengthen your leg. You'll feel that stretch through your calves and the back body. And your footwear choices are really important. They impact everything upstream. So if you have tight feet from maybe wearing shoes like this, it will create tight calves, Achilles, hamstrings, back, switch sides. Oh, feels so good. A little TLC for your feet. All right, scoot that block to the side. Hold on to your stable surface. Pick up your right leg, and you're just going to circle your hip up, back, and around. If you feel any clicking or popping in your hip, if it's without pain, probably nothing to worry about. Just kind of mobilizing the joint, but just pay attention to what you feel, and then go the other way. We're going to do a little dynamic figure 4 stretch. So cross that leg over your opposite thigh, reach your hips back, get a little stretch for your glutes and your piriformis. We're going to be working the glutes today. So you want to identify where they are so you can activate them as much as possible. And then stand up, take that same leg into your hand, soften your knee, slide your leg back, drop your tailbone down, a little stretch for your quads. Also notice where your quads are. We're going to be working them as well. Notice when you stretch, you want to avoid sitting into your hip like that. So lift up out of your standing hip, grow nice and tall, and then switch sides. Hold on to a stable surface, pick up your opposite leg, little circles, up, back, and around. The warm-up's really important. It's just as important as everything that's to come. It warms up your body, but it also warms up your brain and helps you identify what muscles are going to be working, helps connect your brain to your body, and then go the other way. Forgot to introduce my friend Ken back here. He's optional. Barbie's everything. He's just Ken. And then cross your ankle over your opposite thigh and your sit back. So notice in figure 4, my knee and my foot aren't coming in. You want to reach your hips back like you're in a squat, right? Hips back. So reach your hips back, get that stretch for the outside of your hip and your glutes. And then stand up, take your quadricep stretch, soften through your standing knee, lift up out of your standing hip, drop your ribs down, slide your leg back, ramp your head back. And roll your ankle a little bit. Okay, and then stand with your feet hip width distance apart. Take your arms out to a goalpost, and you're going to wrap your left arm under your right, lift your arms up, drop your hands forward, lower your chin to your chest. Get a little stretch for the upper back, that sensation of puffing your shoulder blades back. You might feel that a little bit in your chest press, and then do the opposite side. Take your arm under, lift your elbows up, drop your forearms forward, and then unwind. Come down to an all fours position on the ground. So place your hands underneath your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips. Take an inhale, extend your spine, and exhale, flex your spine. So reach your heart forward, chest forward as you extend, flex your spine, pull your abdominals in. We call this a cat-cow, but if it looks more like a kitten calf to you, a little smaller range of motion, that's fine. Notice where your body feels the best. Notice where maybe things feel a little bit cranky, and pay attention to how you feel now, because we're going to go back to some of these rechecks at the end, and hopefully you're feeling like your body's sliding and gliding a little bit more. So a little spinal mobility, and then come back to neutral. Reach your left arm forward, slide your right leg back, hold the right leg back, and you're just going to tap your left shoulder with your left hand and reach. So squeeze your biceps as you do this. Squeeze, lengthen, squeeze, lengthen. So curl in, hinging at the elbow, and lengthen. You are more than welcome when we get into our bicep curls to do any of this work without weights. The weights are always optional. And I want you to progress slowly. So if you're new to lifting heavier weights, always err on the side of lighter until you really get the mechanics of the exercises down. You understand what muscles we're activating, and you're able to do that and really connect your brain to your body. Switch sides, slide your left leg back, reach your right arm forward, tap your right fingers to your right shoulder. Notice that I'm not sinking into my hips, so pull your abdominals in, reach. So activate your biceps as you curl in, lengthen your arms. You're also squeezing your glutes a little bit to stabilize you. Curl in and in, lengthen out. One more time, curl in and in, lengthen out. Place your hand down and then lift your left leg that's already up. And you're just going to lift it up to activate your glutes. So you want to lift from the base of your glutes. You're not lifting from your low back. Pull your abdominals in. Tiny squeezes to lift. You have 10 more, and then we're going to switch sides. You have 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Set your left knee down. Slide your right leg back. Lift it up. Soften through your elbows. The number one thing I see in straight arm planks and all fours positions like this is people really lock out the elbows. That puts a lot of unnecessary tension in your shoulders and your neck. So soften through your elbows. You actually use your muscles to hold you up more than just locking and sitting passively into your joints. You have 4 counts. 3, 2, and 1. Set your knees down. Keep your hips up high over your knees and slide your hands forward into an extension stretch. You can take your hands a little bit wider. Get that stretch across your chest. Take an inhale. Good. Exhale. And then pull back into a child's pose and wiggle your hips a bit side to side. We're going to start today with upper body, some chest presses. Cam actually chose the chest presses, you know. Okay, you're going to grab the weights you want for chest presses. I usually go a little bit heavier on this, but again, if you're new to lifting heavier weights, you want to err on the side of caution on this, because you don't want to go too quickly out of the gate and end up, you know, being a little bit too aggressive and end up injured. So whatever weight you're choosing, hold on to those weights, one in each hand from a seated position first, and then we're going to lay down. That avoids, once you get down, rolling awkwardly to the side and trying to pick something up. So go ahead and grab your stuff, bring your elbows out, lay your head down, take an inhale, exhale, push your weights up, inhale, lower down. Exhale, push up. So we're going to do 5 exercises today. We're going to do this circuit 3 times, the whole 5, so 15 exercises total, 3 sets of 5 for 1 minute each. So that will give you an idea of the weight you want to choose, because you want to use a weight that challenges you, where you feel like towards the end of the set, you're challenged enough that you don't want the set to continue forever. If you choose a weight where you feel like you could do this all day long, it's probably not challenging enough to make any substantial changes to your muscles. So again, if you're new to this, you want to err on the side of caution just to get the mechanics of the exercises down so that you're doing them properly. But as you progress, you can add a little bit more weight. So notice my elbows are coming down to 45 degrees here, and then they're pushing up, heads of the weights come together. You have 5 more counts. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Gently set your weights down. Rock and roll up. We're going to go into biceps next. So I use a lighter weight for biceps. And you can either do biceps from your knees or you can stand. I'm going to do it from my knees for this first set. Also, you're going to want a squishy ball for some of our core work. I mentioned that at the beginning, but I also like to use the ball here for just a little bit more stability and core activation. So if you have a Pilates type squishy ball, go ahead and grab it. I'm also going to grab my weights. So we're going right into biceps. So start with your weights facing in towards your legs, and then curl your arms, turn your palms up to face the ceiling, and then lower back down. Okay. The other thing that's really important is that you don't lean back. I see a lot of times people pick up weights that are too heavy and they have to compensate by sitting into their low back. So make sure you can maintain your alignment. And the other thing that will help is activating your core. And if you connect your breath to your movement, that will happen automatically. So on the exertion, on the pull up, audibly exhale, and then inhale, lower down, exhale, pull up, and inhale, lower down. Exhale, curl up, inhale, lower down. If you find that your weights are getting really, really heavy, maybe you went a little bit heavy out of the gate. And if you're not at the point of failure where you just can't possibly do one more rep, one way to kind of ease into it is to alternate. You could alternate your biceps like this. Do one at a time. That's a good way to transition from one weight to a slightly heavier weight, is to alternate. You have 4 counts, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and set your weights down. The weights you're just using are probably the weights you're going to use for the next exercise, because you need 2, and you're going to put them side by side on the floor like this, end to end, because we are going to stand on them. Okay. So Barbie loves this exercise because it reminds her a lot of this, right? You're standing on a heel, elevating your foot. Okay, so what you're going to do, I like to also use the ball between my inner thighs for this exercise. You're going to grab that ball as well as one heavy weight. So I'm just going to use one of those weights I was using for my chest press. When you bend your knees to pick up your weight, make sure you're not dumping into your low back. You want to bend, activate your core. The way you put down the weights and pick them up is just as important as everything else we're going to teach you and everything else we're going to practice. Okay, so place the ball between your quads, place the weight in your hands, and this is a quadriceps exercise. So release any grip in your glutes, lower down an inch, up an inch, go down and up, down and up. So your heels are propped up on the weights. If this doesn't work for you, my weights here, if this doesn't work for your knees, you can come find a wall and do a wall sit. This is sort of usually the one that works for everybody because it's symmetrical, it's supported by the wall, you're not moving, you're isometric. It's a good way to build strength in and around your knees. So if you need the wall sit, go ahead and take that. Okay, so once you get the feel here, let's increase the range of motion. Go down for 2 counts and up for 2 counts. Lower down and down, up and up. It's not about the range of motion. It's about finding that activation in your quads. And if you tend to grip into your glutes, which a lot of us do because glutes are a little like storage locker for tension and stress. We grip our glutes a lot more than we think. Really try to relax them. If you're tilting your hips or clenching your glutes, you're going to feel a tug or pull up in your knees, and that's not what you want. Okay, you have 6 more counts. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and stand up. For this next exercise, we're going to be in a staggered stance. It's a glute exercise. So I'm going to put the ball to the side, and I'm going to move these weights out of the way. We are going to do something called a kickstand lunge, and I'm going to demonstrate. It's going to be really, really hot, everybody, really sexy. Okay, we're going to go right leg forward, left leg back. It's like one foot has a Birkenstock on and one foot has a heel, because your back foot, it's really hard to get heels on when you also have some socks on. It's a good look, right? Okay, so one foot back, it's like this back foot. You're going to lift it up. It's almost like there's a heel there, right? You're going to hold onto your weight with one hand and your stable surface with the other, because the right leg's forward. That's the leg that's going to hold the weight, and you're going to hinge This leg's gonna be back a little bit, just like a little kickstand. Hinge your hips back and stand up. Obviously, you're not doing this with shoes on, but we're ditching the shoes for the strength. Okay, so I like to use a heavier weight for this. So again, right foot forward, left leg back, not way back. We're not in a runner's lunge. We're not in a hinge lunge. It's like just a little bit back. Hold on with your left hand to the stable surface. That is not an option. You need the stable surface for stability in your forward knee. And you're gonna hinge back, push through your foot, squeeze through your glutes. So really lead with your right hip. You're trying to engage your glutes on the right side. And when you stand up, squeeze your glutes as much as you can. I find it harder to connect to my glutes on this side than it is when we're going to switch sides. For me, my left side's a little bit more intuitive to activate. So notice what shows up for you. Push through your foot, squeeze through your glutes as you rise up. If it's too much for you to have that weight in your right hand, you can always put the weight over your quads, a little bit more low back friendly, or you can set the weight down. Doing this with body weight is totally fine. The important thing is that your hips go back and you're not dropping your knees forward. So if you have a reflective surface near you, or you can see yourself in your own screen, definitely check in on your form. Form is everything. Hinge back, lift up. So your staggered foot is adding support, right? You have half of your foot down. If you picked it up, right, it would be a lot harder. That would be more like a Bulgarian split squat with your foot elevated. So these are things we can progress into over time. You have 6 more counts. 5, 4, really squeeze your glutes as you stand up. 3, 2, and 1. Switch sides, left foot down, right foot back, stagger your foot. So again, it's not way back here. Just bring it back a little bit and really emphasize the reach back of your hips. Push through your foot, squeeze through your glutes. So notice I'm not moving fast, and I'm also not going super, super, super low. Some people drop their chest forward, and that takes it out of the glutes. It also puts a lot of load into your low back. So you want to reach the hips back, push through your left foot, squeeze through your glutes as you stand up. And if you ever come so low that you don't feel any engagement in your glutes, that's a sign to keep the range of motion a little bit shorter, so you have a little bit more control. Squeeze through your glutes. Hinge your hips back, push down, squeeze through your glutes. Hinge back, push down, squeeze through your glutes. So I'm going to turn this way just so you can see. Sometimes when we add a weight to one side, kind of like pulls you to one side, you want to make sure your hips go straight back. So notice my knees aren't coming in. They're not flaring out. You want to go straight back, push down, squeeze through your glutes. Really find that hang time at the top. Make sure you're holding on to a stable surface. You have 4 counts. 3, 2, and 1. Set the weight down. Grab your squishy ball. If you don't have a squishy ball, you can set up a couple of pillows behind you, but you need something to support your back. We're going to do some abdominal work. So you're going to take the ball right behind your low back. Come on down to your elbows. Take an inhale like you did in the warm-up, little cat-cow. Exhale, drop your ribs down like you're trying to pancake that ball into the ground. So you want to pull your abdominals in like you're trying to pop the ball underneath you. Then take your hands back behind your hamstrings. If this becomes too much, you can always put your elbows back down. Hands behind your hamstrings, take your head side to side. Make sure you're not holding any tension in your neck. Pull your abdominals in. And then think about lightening off the ball. Inflate it and then lower back down. So you're going to lift up and lower down. Pull your ribs down. So if you're someone that has a hard time connecting the ribs, if you live in kind of that rib flare position a lot of your day, a lot of your life, think about dropping your ribs down. You don't have to tilt your hips and tuck under. We're not trying to get into like the severe spinal flexion or anything like that, but you do have to think about knitting your ribs down so that you're not getting that flare across, especially if you have anything like abdominal separation, really making sure that your abdominals are knitting in. So you're working towards reconnecting those muscles versus kind of sitting open in that separated position is really important. If you need any help with any modifications on that, always feel free to reach out. You have 4 more counts. 3, 2, come all the way up, set the ball to the side, and grab your weights. We're going into our second set of exercises back to the chest press. So always, again, grab your weights from a seated position and then roll down. Elbows come out away from your side body at about 45 degrees. Take an inhale. Exhale, push your weights up. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, push up. Heads of the weights come together like they are magnetic. Inhale, lower down. Exhale. Inhale, lower down. Exhale. Press up. Inhale, lower down. So I do this breath whenever I'm lifting anything heavy, not just when I'm working out, just when I'm lifting like a package off the front porch. And my kids mock me like you would not believe. Barbie has a lot of kids. Did you know Barbie is a teacher and a doctor and a vet and all the things? Inhale, lower down. Exhale, push up. Inhale, lower down. I feel like this new modern Barbie is maybe not going to be so unrealistic and unattainable. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, press up. But we got to do our chest presses so we can push all those unrealistic expectations away from us. Last one. Inhale, lower down. Whatever doesn't serve you, just push it away. All right. And then we're going to do some pulling with our biceps. So again, you could be on your knees or up on your feet. I'm going to stay on my knees and I'm going to use the ball just like I did last time. Props are optional. Grab your biceps weights. Okay. So pulling in chest presses, you push things that you didn't serve you away from you. Now you get to decide what does serve you and pull it towards you. So exhale, pull up, inhale, lower down, whatever you want to pick up, whatever you want to pull towards you. And then whatever you want to get rid of, lower it slowly. One of the biggest pet peeves I have quite a few pet peeves about the fitness industry is watching people on, Instagram or YouTube or in the gym just drop their weights. You get so much value out of lowering weights, so much so that I wish I could totally shift the language from I lift weights to I lower weights. That's where it's really impressive. Whatever you pick up, you got to be able to put down. Pull up, inhale, lower down. So if you are not new to lifting, this is the point where you want to start paying attention to like, how do I feel in this set? Do I feel like I could curl these weights and do these bicep curls forever? Or I'm hoping that she's going to count down and maybe that count is going to be 10 seconds or less, right? That's how you know you're getting to that point of failure. You have 4 counts, 3, 2, and 1. Nice job. The weights that are in my hands are the ones I'm going to stand on for my quad work. So I'm going to put them down. I'm going to keep the ball, come to standing. So you can downward dog your way up. You can come to standing in whatever way works for you. And then carefully bend your knees. Oops. Pick up your weight, put your heels on the weights, and then hold the other weight. So sometimes in our Align classes, we do quad work like this, where you don't have anything supporting your heels, but you always hold on for support because you don't have the support under your heels. In this case, we want to add the weight, so your hands aren't free to hold on. So we have to figure out how to compensate for that stability. That's how we put the heels on your weights. Okay, so hold your heavy weight. Again, it's always optional. Lower down for 2 counts and up for 2 counts. Remember, this is a quadriceps exercise, which means if you are gripping your glutes, you're taking the work out of your quads and maybe putting some work into your knees, which is not good. Lower down and down, up and up. Lower down and down, up and up. So your thigh bones make an 11. You want your knees to go straight forward over your toes. That's why I like using the ball, because it helps as a little spacer, helps me maintain consistency in my alignment. At Alkalign, we're all about alignment, not just of your body, but trying to balance out mental health, physical health, emotional health, trying to find that balance where you can do a lot, not necessarily all. That's not the expectation we want to set, but not kill yourself in the process. I spent a lot of years trying to do too many things, and it just wore me out. You have 6 more counts. We're going to hold at the bottom for some little presses in 4, 3, 2, hold it at the bottom and lower down an inch, up an inch. Little presses down and up. So hopefully you're feeling a little sensation, spicy sensation in your quads. You have 6 more counts. We're going to those kickstand lunges in 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, stand up. Move these weights out of your way. Gonna ditch the ball because you're gonna be in a split stance. Right foot forward, left leg back. You wanna hold on to your stable surface with your left hand. Hold on to your weight if you're choosing to use it with your right hand, and step your foot slightly back. So I gave you the visual of the Birkenstock and the heel just for fun. So it's like this foot is lifted, this foot's flat, and you're gonna hinge your hips back, push through your right foot like you're gonna jump up and your head's gonna hit the ceiling. So hinge back, hold on to that engagement in your glutes, squeeze your glutes. So find a squeeze at the top and then hinge back, hold on to that squeeze, push through your foot, squeeze through your glutes. So again, make sure you're not leaning to the right. You want to stay really aligned, really focused. I'm not bringing my thigh bone all the way parallel to the floor. I see that a lot in lunges, especially in runner's lunges. I don't think there's a rule in the rule book that says your thigh bone has to come down parallel to the floor. A lot of times, if you come too low, you have to compensate and use your low back to get back up, which is not fun for your low back. Push through your foot, squeeze through your glutes. Hinge back, push through your foot, squeeze through your glutes. You have 4 more counts. We're going to switch sides in 3, 2, on 1. Switch sides. So step your right foot slightly back. It's not as far back as a lunge. It's like a little kickstand. Some people like it closer, some like it further away. Do what works for you. Hinge back and lift up. Hinge your hips straight back. Push through your foot, squeeze through your glutes. So having a mirror, I know mirrors are a little intimidating. People don't like to look at themselves in the mirror. It's really good for visual feedback, and you can get, like a $10 full-length mirror at Target. You don't have to invest in something really fancy, but it does give you a lot of feedback on your alignment. Another good trick is videoing yourself. If you ever want to shoot me a video of your form, I can give you a little feedback on that. And then notice how I'm moving really, really slowly. If you find yourself moving really fast, check yourself before you wreck yourself. There's no reason to move fast. Faster is not better. More is not more. You have 5 more counts. 4, 3, 2. I'm going to get in one more. Squeeze your glutes and then gently set that weight down. Grab your ball for that abdominal work. We're going to go back to what we call at Alkalign mid-C curve. So start on your elbows. Take an inhale, expand your ribs. Exhale, drop your ribs down. Take your hands behind your hamstrings so you can lift and lower. We're going to mix it up a little bit here, and we're going to go right and left. Little U shape. Okay, the first, let's be honest, 6 times I did this exercise, especially with this little added oblique work, I felt so unstable. I felt like I was going to roll right off the ball, and it was very frustrating and maybe even a little bit embarrassing. There was nobody there but me, but I felt embarrassed about it. So whenever you find those feelings creep up, where you want to lean out of something because you're afraid you're going to fail, I encourage you to just give it a chance, right? Very few people do something for the first time and are amazing at it right away. Practice makes progress, and the more you awaken your core and the more you practice these different exercises, the more coordinated you're going to feel. All right, you have 6 more counts. 5, 4, give yourself a chance. Don't quit. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, coming up. This is your very last set. So I mentioned we were going to do 3 sets of 5 exercises. This is the 3rd set, going back to the top with your chest press. So find your chest press weights, I'm gonna actually, because mine was over there, you want to avoid, this is where the injuries happen. You kind of quickly go to grab something because you're in a hurry. We're always in a hurry. We're always rushing everything. And then before you know it, no bueno for your back. So take the time to set up the exercises. Lay down on your back. Take an inhale, elbows out at 45 degrees. Exhale, push your weights up. Good, inhale, lower down. Exhale, push up. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, remember, think of that thing that doesn't serve you and push it away. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, inhale, lower down. Also remember that no is a complete sentence. Exhale, it's taken me a long time to learn that one. Exhale, push up. Inhale, lower down. So if my breathing makes you feel as uncomfortable as it does my children, I'm sorry, but it's really good for you to activate the core stabilizers that support your back, activate your deep core musculature. You need that. So instead of thinking like, oh, how do I activate my core and do all this? Just add the breath. Exhale. And then sometimes I'll pretend like the weight I'm lifting is twice as heavy as it is. Exhale, press up. Inhale, lower down. You have 5 more counts. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, I know that I chose the right weight because I was really reaching the point of not wanting to do many more of those. So that's a good sign usually. If you get towards the end, especially on the 3rd set, and you're like, oh, yep, I'm done. It's usually an indication that you found the right weight for you today. It changes all the time. Progress is not linear. Okay, pick up your biceps. I'm going to do this without the ball this time. So if you also are doing this without the ball, you don't feel like you're all alone. Exhale, pull your arms up. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, pull your arms up. Inhale, lower down. I'm going to show you something that happens. Keep going. Don't stop just because I stopped. I'm going to demonstrate with my pink weights because I see this all the time, especially with lighter weights. I see people just kind of like snap the elbows. They kind of just let gravity take over on the way down. It's not only not good for your joints to do that. Momentum is not a muscle. You lose out on a lot of the potential benefits. So you want to pull and then lengthen out. So this is a concentric contraction as you curl up, and then an eccentric contraction as you lower down. You're working in both directions. You're actually working a little bit more to control gravity on the way down. So exhale, pull up, inhale, lower down, exhale, pull up, inhale, lower down, exhale. So for those of you who are tuning in to what weight feels most challenging or challenging to the point where you feel like you're getting the most benefit is what I should say. You have about 5 counts left. So if you're like, oh, I could go for another minute, it might be time to go up and wait. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nice job. But again, the tendency and the pressure from the fitness industry is always to do more and to do it too quickly. So at Alkalign, we're all about taking your time. If you do it well, you're going to be doing it for a long time. It's not a race. Okay, bend your knees. Pick up your heavy weight. We're going to go into quad. So I've already set up my weights. I've got the ball. Hold your weight across your lap. Lower down for 2 and up for 2. So this is one option when your heels are on top of the weights. Because you have that stability underneath your heels, sometimes you'll see us teach a variation where you hinge your hips back, drop your ribs down, and your knees kind of come forward as your head goes back. You could never do this if you weren't holding on to something or if you didn't have your heels under something. So for example, keep going, but you wouldn't do this exercise like this with nothing supporting your heels. That would be getting into the danger zone. Sometimes we teach something like this in our Align classes where you hold on, but if you don't have something sturdy to hold on to at home, your alternative is to get something sturdy to stand on. So now you know how you can do that reverse hinge position if you don't have something sturdy to pull off of. Okay, last one. Hold it down, lower down an inch, up an inch. So tiny little presses down and up intentionally in both directions. Again, if this bugs your knees or this isn't working for your body today, go for the wall sit. There's always an alternative. And if I forget to mention what it is, please reach out. We are real people on the other side of the screen, and we are here to help you. That's what Alkalign does best. We specialize in prehab and rehab and modifying exercises so they're optimized for you based on what stage you are in. And that changes all the time, right? You could be super strong, perfectly healthy, trip off a curb tomorrow, break your ankle, still want to move. We'll figure out how to get it done in a safe way. You have 6 more counts. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, I'm going to set the weight down just so I can move these other weights out of the way. Move my ball to the side. This is your last set of your kickstand lunge. So bend your knees, pick up your heavy weight with your right hand, hold on to your stable surface with your left hand, step your left foot slightly back, and then reach your hips back and stand up. Squeeze your glutes. So notice if your glutes are a little bit more awake, a little bit more active, firing a little bit better now than they were right at the beginning. There is something called glute amnesia. It's a thing where your glutes forget to fire. We sit on them all day long. They go a little bit dormant. So this is a great way to really not just strengthen your glutes, but just pay attention to your glutes and other parts of your body. You'll notice in Build, we're not doing a lot of compound movements. You're not doing arm stuff and leg stuff at the same time. It's one thing at a time. I want you to focus on your alignment, on your form, on the mechanics of the exercise and the muscle that you are activating and squeezing as much as you can. You have 6 more counts. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Switch sides. Okay. Hold the weight in your left hand. Step your right foot back. Hinge back and stand up. So if I didn't mention this, your feet are hip width distance apart. So make sure you're not crossing and not too wide. And your hips go back. It's a hip hinge. So avoid letting your knee go forward. A lot of times if I'm in the room with you, I'll actually hold your shin and pull it back energetically to stabilize the lower legs. It really forces you to get back into the hinge. So again, I'm not there with you right now. So you want to learn how to make all these little adjustments on your own. Squeeze your glutes. People sometimes ask about how high does the back heel have to be lifted? It does not have to be in a big heel like that. It's just a little kickstand to give you a little bit more support. Think of the alternative here, right? Whenever we do that, this happens. People compensate with their knee. So put this down and reach back like you're trying to get your hips back beyond your back heel. Push through your glutes, stand up. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, push, squeeze your glutes. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, push and squeeze. You have 5 more counts. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Carefully set the weight down. Grab your ball. Last set of abdominal work. Okay, come down to your elbows. Again, option 1 is just focus on pull the abdominals down and hold. Pull down and hold. Just getting that energy of pulling down. Option 2, take your hands behind your hamstrings. You're going to lift up and up, lower down and down. So what I like about the ball is it gives you support. It takes load off your neck. It also gives you something tactile to lift away from and something tactile to lower down into. So remember we talked about the benefit of the curl and the lengthen in your biceps. There's a benefit of lifting away from the ball and also lowering with control. If you get stuck here and you can't lift, you're kind of in no man's land. That's not good. You'll feel a lot more tension in your neck. Your head will feel like a bowling ball. So if you're kind of stuck here, err on the side of coming up a little bit, creating that flexibility and mobility in your spine and the activation in your abdominals. But once you do this for a while, and I mentioned this was not intuitive for me when I first started, but once I got the hang of it, I noticed my range of motion was bigger and controlled. So you have to have, bigger is not great if it's out of control, but if you can lift up and lower down and control that motion in both directions, that's where the magic happens for the rectus abdominis. Lift up and up, lower down and down. Lift up and up, lower down and down. If at any time you feel tension in your neck, check that your abdominals are engaged. Always put your elbows down. Make that little kickstand to support your neck. You have 6 more counts. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nice job. Sit up. Take the ball out. Lie back down and hug your knees in towards your chest because you did it. 5 exercises, 3 sets each. Whew. And then take your knees. I have to move all my props. Scoot them out of the way. Take your knees up and over to the right in a rotation stretch. Reach your left arm out and open up through your chest. So give your chest a little stretch. After all that strengthening work, notice how far your left shoulder and left elbow are from the floor. If you have really tight chest or tight shoulders, you might be lifted. You can always put a block or pillow underneath your left arm if that eases you into it. Definitely check out some of Alkalign's rolling classes because mobility is the foundation for everything. In order to build strength in alignment, you need that mobility first. Go ahead and switch sides. And a lot of times we're just kind of sticky or stuck from, sitting all day. We sit a lot in our culture, at our desks, in our cars. So it doesn't take too much to get ahead of that or to catch up from that, but it does take a little bit of intention. Okay, come back through center, cross your right ankle over your left, flex your foot, gently pull your knee in. So this is a figure 4 stretch. We did this in a standing position during the warm-up. I like this position because then my feet are free to rotate the ankles in one direction and the other. Flex and point your feet, really good for your lymphatic system. And then switch sides. Gently pull your knees in. Oh my gosh. Really good to stretch the muscles you just worked. And while you're here, give your glutes, your quads, your chest muscles, your biceps, your core musculature an extra little thank you. We don't really pay attention to things when they're going well. We only get frustrated when they're not going well. We get really mad at our at our body when it's we feel like it's sort of I don't know, given up on us or it's betrayed us in some way by getting injured or by hurting. But what about all the things that are working? Give a little shout out to all those things. Okay. Flip on over onto your abdominals. We're going to do a prone quad stretch. So curl your right heel in, drop your tailbone down, pull your abdominals in. Feel that stretch from the quads and maybe up even through your hip flexors. And then make sure your knee's in line with your hips. Sometimes I see the knee kind of splay out here. So scoot it in towards your center line. Switch sides, drop your tailbone down, pull your abdominals in. Feel that stretch through the front body. Okay, and then press up into all fours. And we're gonna do another little chest opener. So reach your right arm up, rotate to the right, and then thread your right arm through. You'll feel a stretch and a rotation through your thoracic spine, your chest, and your shoulder. Different people feel this in different places. Usually you feel it where you're most tight. And then switch sides, reach your left arm up, open through the chest. And then slide your left arm under your right. Feel that rotation through your spine. Breathe into your left shoulder. And then finally, come to all fours. Let's go back to the cat-cow. We were at the beginning. Take an inhale, extend your spine. Exhale, flex your spine. Do that a couple more times. Notice if things are sliding and gliding a little bit better. Notice if you feel a little bit more connected to your body. Again, we move through the world so quickly, we do not take time to slow down and pay attention when our body is whispering. This time on your mat is your carved out time to do just that. Okay, and then come into a child's pose. Reach your hips back, flip your palms up, bend at the arms, activate your biceps so you can give yourself a big old pat on the back. You showed up, you did it. Hopefully you feel better leaving your mat than you did when you arrived. And hopefully you learned something about yourself in the process. If you have any questions at all, please reach out.